Having clarity about your boundaries and the confidence to express them is what I find a very essential skill in relationships for men to keep your center within the commitment. And that sometimes can leave the impression that we are boundaried up, that we have these walls in front of us, and that we kind of push a woman away. So many of my clients, they have this fear like, it sounds great what you're offering, Ra, about learning about boundaries and then feeling safer and feeling more freedom in a relationship. But does a woman really like that? So I'm here with Maya today to talk about that. And yeah, so I would love to hear how does that feel for you if I'm expressing boundaries in our relationship and in general, how do you feel about that when men do that?
Well, yeah, as a woman, I feel like I'm more just open and I don't find the need for boundaries necessarily for myself unless I'm feeling triggered or wounded or disconnected in some way. Um, so yeah, I've also struggled with setting boundaries without feeling like a bitch or without feeling like I'm being mean
Mm,
or doing something wrong. And so when we first became friends, you said to me, when you set boundaries, it makes me feel safer with you because then I know where the edges of you
mm-hmm,
are. And that was I've never heard that concept, let alone from a man, because again, as a woman, I was taught if you set boundaries, then it's going to make a man angry
right.
and, and you're being a bitch. So you telling me that my boundaries made you feel safer gave me more permission to express any boundaries that did come up.
Mm,
And then with I've found in this last year I've started interacting with men who set boundaries like with intimacy and
mm,
physicality and keep them, which that was actually a new experience for me because I've had relationships where, when we started dating and the man would say, "Oh, I want to wait to have sex like for a few weeks."
mm,
And I was like, "Well, I want sex right now. So, I'd rather like do it now, but if that's your boundary, okay."
mm,
And then the men wouldn't actually keep the boundary. And it's like they
mm,
weren't in
okay.
integrity with what they wanted, which was actually a good, like, it would have been better for us to develop more emotional intimacy before the
Mm-hmm.
sexual intimacy. But that was part of my wounding also. And so last year,
So do
yeah,
I hear like the trust? Like you trust the men more if they
yes,
if they set a boundary and they keep it because
yes,
it's like kind of okay, you can hold on to that. It's
hmm,
like a structure.
yeah, and they have integrity, and they're gonna follow through on their word.
Mm,
It shows like through their actions that no matter, and again, like in a sexual context. So last year, I engaged with a friend who, like, we love each other dearly. We've been friends for years, and we're both single. And he had a boundary of no penetration. And at first, I was like, okay, well, that's your boundary because like I'm
mm-hmm,
open.
mm-hmm.
So if you don't want to do that, fine, but you keep the boundary. And so then when we were engaging, and he's like, "Can I take your pants off?" And I was like, "Yeah, you can, but you have that boundary, and like you have to keep it." And every other man I've been with would not keep that boundary. Like once
Right.
my pants were off, and so and he did.
Hmm.
And that again, like for me, it was almost this transformational experience of actually being with a man who had integrity and was safe and followed through on his
Mm-hmm.
word. Um, and even though in the moment, like I wanted more than what he was willing to give, that he didn't surpass his own boundaries, just made me feel so much safer than I ever have with a man.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then I can say the same with my experience with you because you
Right.
held a very strong boundary for months and you were like, "No, like I just want to engage like non-sexually with physical
Mm,
intimacy." And I was like, "Well, I want more." And so we were discussing how, like, for a woman, a man holding a boundary makes her feel safer. And I feel like the function of the feminine is to push a man's boundary. And
mm,
like, is this boundary still in alignment? And
mm-hmm.
are you strong enough to keep the boundary that you say you want to keep?
Yep. Yeah, full yeah. So what I'm hearing, so on one hand, obviously the boundaries as a mm, protection
Mm-hmm.
for the men that I'm working with, so that they feel safe in a commitment and not that they're losing their identity basically
Mm-hmm.
through being in a partnership. That's one aspect of it. And holding that, like having the clarity and holding that makes you feel safe as a woman. At the same time, also the job of the man in the dynamic is then to hold your boundary. So the boundary keeper for both, so to say. And what was the last thing you said? The expansion, so that in the container that is set through the boundaries, the more clarity, the more safe that container feels. And then trying to expand the container. That's then the job of the feminine, you say.
Yeah, because we've had this conversation many times of like a boundary. Sometimes a boundary is authentic to who you are as a person, of like, I don't want to do this because my highest joy is over here. But sometimes a boundary is the result of wounding. And the boundaries that are a result of woundings are good for protecting you while you're healing, but then eventually they need to be expanded for you to expand. And so like my interest with you and your boundaries, like I want you to do what you need and take care of yourself, and I want you to have what you need and want. And I always want to question, like, is this really what you need and want, or is this a mental construct? Is this coming from wounding? Is this coming from trauma?
I love that.
Good. I'm glad.
Yeah, the more I feel secure in my boundaries, the more they become me also. Like, let's say the strategy aspect of a boundary to say like, I need this on the outside to guarantee this on the inside. If I really know what I need on the inside and I embody that fully, then in every moment I act accordingly, and people perceive me also in that way, so they are not even overstepping. But that's like really far into the whole topic. What I just wanted to express in this video and to broadcast is how women are actually feeling more secure.
And it makes us respect you more. And it's like, respect is important.
More trust and more respect.
More respect, yeah, because if a man doesn't hold strong boundaries, a woman loses respect for him. And a man needs to feel respected in order for the dynamic to function properly. I've heard like that's kind of a thing that men need. Like they need to feel and be respected by their partners. And so if you're a nice guy and you let your boundaries be overstepped, or you don't stand up for your values and your integrity, then the woman loses respect for you.
Wow. So it's a win-win.
Yeah.
Having boundaries.
Yeah.
For yourself, for your integrity and freedom, and for women to actually like you more. That's interesting.
And like I know you've told your clients, if you express a boundary and the person is like, fuck that, or you're stupid or whatever, then they shouldn't be in your life.
That's
like
right.
The people who are meant to be in your life, if you express a boundary, they say, okay, like I love you and I want you to do what's best for you. And so it's a win-win-win. Like you can't, if you express a boundary and someone reacts poorly to it, that's information for you to have about, do I want to go deeper with this person if they can't understand or respect or respect my boundaries.
Awesome. If you guys want to learn more about boundaries, there will be more content on this channel, obviously. But I created a whole course over 3 months, and I'm very happy to have a conversation about that. Down in the description, I will put a link so we can jump on a call and I can explain you all about it. Thank you for today, Maya.
Thank you.
And as always, if that was helpful, give it a thumbs up, put your questions down in the comments, and subscribe if you like, so you see more of our videos. Thank you.